Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's upload is going to be on the United States weather pattern outlook, kind of a US weather outlook, long range forecast, long range outlook, whatever you want to define it as. And I made one 2 days ago, and as I'm recording this, it's actually late at night Sunday, but you'll be witnessing, viewing this video on Monday. Monday, so October 1st, tomorrow's October 1st. So today, basically, I just wanted to say that winter is coming, and that's going to be the theme of this weather video. And there's also some drastic things, some very interesting pattern things going on that we could be looking at. So if you like these type of videos, if you like these type of updates, consider subscribing to my channel, consider liking the video. If you're a returning member or viewer but you're not a member yet, consider subscribing. It's just there for a reason. It really helps out me out. And if you're a new viewer, this is your first video ever watching my channel, then consider checking out my channel, watch this whole video, and decide for yourself. So what we're looking at right now is a very active pattern. We have of highs and lows across much of the United States. We have hurricane or tropical storm Rosa across the southwest making landfall, or will be making landfall into the southwest. And we have the system here across the Midwest. It's kind of like a sagged out cold front. There's going to be so many events happening across the next 7 days across these areas that one after another will lead to basically the next one being more severe. So I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. So right now what we're seeing, hurricane tropical system Rosa making landfall in the southwest, bringing tons of moisture into the Arizona area, California, but mainly Arizona. And then we see this little system, frontal system right here across the United States into northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. I'd like to show you this on the HRRR model. The HRRR model is called high resolution or high rapid refresh resolution, something along those lines. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact names. But if we look down here, let's go back to 1-0 Monday, because that's it has a full run. And it's basically a train of moisture, kind of just a slug that's starting here in Nebraska, kind of spawning here and moving all the way into western New York. And you can see that kind of goes on for several hours. It's underdone by this model. If we were to look at the radar, which I won't pull it up, but if we were to look at the radar, there's some thunderstorms, even some severe thunderstorms, but mainly some heavier rainfall. And that kind of goes through and eventually pushes through, which leaves quite a bit of rain, but not necessarily the flooding criteria. And then we look at hurricane tropical system Rosa, which would be again bringing tons of moisture into the southwest. We look through that. You can see there's a system in the north pushing through in cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit. And if we were to look at the total rainfall from mainly these two systems, we were to see that Hurricane Rosa bringing tropical system Rosa at this point, tropical storm, tropical depression, will be bringing anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain for these areas. And for this majority of the area, I would say tops out at around 2-3 inches, no more than that. But again, if you are under like a one thunderstorm for quite a bit of time, you're just getting trained by thunderstorm, at one after another, and then you could get isolated 4-inch amounts. But again, the main concern is the southwest, because it's mountainous, it's different, it's desert soil, it doesn't absorb that easily, it floods much more easier, so it's just more dangerous. So we go through that time frame basically I showed you, and what's interesting, actually, the remnants of this storm, you can see it kind of swoops up with this low pressure and evolves into this potentially massive storm. I mean, this could have a wind field anywhere stretching from southern James Bay, southern Hudson Bay, all the way into the parts of southern Midwest, like southern Illinois. So this is going to be a massive system. And the interesting thing is, usually these models spit out these big systems. They spit out these big systems about 200 to 300 hours out, but this is 72 hours out, and this is a fairly large system, fairly impressive for it's being not that far out. So this one's definitely something to keep an eye on in terms of the wind and the rain. Snow, not majorly a threat. There's not a huge area of real estate that is covered by the snow, but we have plenty of systems afterwards to keep an eye on. We could see this one produces a front sagging down south, trying to bring in some cooler air, but then another system comes up bringing warmer air. So it's kind of like one after another, disrupting the other one's pattern that left in its wake. So it's a very interesting pattern. The other couple days ago I said it's a typical fall pattern. Well, it has changed a little bit now into making it more unique. So I would almost make it call a unique pattern, but nothing unheard of. We obviously had this before. We look again, this is another system, some snow on the top side of it, or I should say on the north side of it. And this is where things get interesting. This is, sorry, I wasn't showing the date. This is Sunday, October 7th. October 7th is exactly a week from yesterday if you're watching this video, or today when I'm recording this video. And you can see that there's a huge system that starts spawning. It basically comes off the Pacific Ocean, combines with this energy from the north, and this one is further out, so the models are probably overdoing the intensity and strength of this storm. However, there are some things that are a little bit concerning about it. So first off, when we look at this storm, we could see that it has a fairly large wind extending from, again, these storms are huge, extending from southern Hudson Bay, southern James Bay, all the way down to, I would say, some good wind speeds down into Iowa and Illinois. So very, very strong. And on the backside of this, some snow. So the plains tend to get blizzards quite often. I mean, they're the states that get the most blizzards out of the whole United States. So typically these blizzards either occur early on in the season or later on in the season. During the winter, there's just not many there's some blizzards, but many blizzards occur in the spring or in the fall. And to be honest with you, if looking at this storm 180 hours out, this model GFS has been very consistent with this, showing some very good signs of possibly a blizzard showing up with this. I mean, we have the snow falling, we have the visibilities going down due to the wind. We have a big we have many things that are going into the factor of a blizzard going on. So this not quickly, but passes through, but the pattern in general stays very active. Maybe the storm is gone, but the pattern isn't. So we have these streaks of just moisture kind of coming up, not necessarily big systems, but there's another system you can see producing some snow, another big storm system. And again, the GFS is showing some potential hurricane tropical storm system here. I would ignore that at this point. We're fairly far out, and they have been putting out these systems for the past several days, and they've been all over the place. So I wouldn't really be concerned too much about that. If we go all the way through the next 10 days, we look at the total snowfall, you could see that there are some amounts that are fairly large, 8 inches, 16 inches. Yes, these amounts are probably in the mountains, and if there are going to be amounts that are 16 inches, they're going to be very isolated. But I'm saying that we could see in some of these areas in North Dakota, South Dakota, up to a foot of snow with these storm systems. So winter is coming, guys. We have quite a big chunk of real estate potentially being with snow, and especially with this cold air that's going to be in place, we definitely could see more of this happening. So let's go to 2 meter temp anomaly and quickly go out to hour 0, which is today, which is still Sunday as I'm recording this video. And you can see a huge reservoir of cold air. Massive. It's just a huge area that is below average. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, there's you can see that there's a system brings in some cooler air, but then another system brings in warmer air, and behind it tries bringing in cooler air. However, that gets messed up by the next system that comes in and kind of pushes it out. So you can see these systems obviously don't work together, but they kind of like mix each other up in some sort of way. You can see now after this one, another cold shot tries making it in, and another system pushes it up. And this is where just things get extremely extreme. So we have a huge chunk of area that is below average. Really below average. This is 20 degrees below average. And we have areas that are 16 to 20 degrees above average. And this is just phenomenal. As a not a meteorologist, but as a weather enthusiast, I really love these type of events where there's just huge contrasts. And among these contrasts, there typically are storms that just ride along the jet stream that kind of, let me draw this out quickly. Let's go to color black. The jet stream something runs something. Oh, that's way too thin. The jet stream runs something like this. And along this river of moisture, these storm systems just take hold and they ride up with this jet stream, and that's why they produce all this snow back here, all this rain over here, and potentially all this severe weather down under here. So sorry that wasn't really good, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. This is just very fascinating. It's exciting pattern. I love this. It is honestly awesome. So I have no other words to describe it as this. If we look further, this is October 10th now, so this is midweek next week. The cold air does make it a little bit further south this time around, but then it seems like this pattern could break. But I would not really be taking this, to be honest, as we're gonna have a break from these extremes. This may be just the models kind of hinting a pattern change, and the cold air may be something locked over here, and a warm air may be so let me draw this out. What I'm basically saying is that the models are showing that the cold air might actually be somewhere over here after this pattern change, and a warm air somewhere over here. Sorry, I just could have switched colors, but I didn't. So warm and cold, and that is a possibility since we've been seeing cold and warm down here. So that is definitely a possibility, but again, that's just a guess because I know these models fairly well, so I do know what they usually try to do, but again, they are unpredictable. Let's go to something like the Canadian model. You can see Canadian model again showing the extremes. Let's just go back to R0 quickly. Just a mismatch at this point, some cooler, some warmer. Then it gets more into a defined pattern, or at least that's what the GFS says. The Canadian has, again, the extremes. You can see a system passes through, some cold air behind it, another system tries bringing warm air up, but the cold air is persistent, and it actually has a cold air further down south, rather than a GFS. So the Canadian model is from Canada, so it would make sense as the cold air would be better forecasted from where it originates from, Canada. So this model may be onto something, the Canadian GEM or the CMC, but we're not for sure. But I'm just going to show you, I did this in the first place to show you that not the GFS is only showing this. The last thing I would like to show you is a 2-meter temp shaded, which shows the actual temp. Let's just jump back to the GFS, which at this point I think has a better handle. Oh, look, we just have the new model run coming in. Let's switch back to the old one, since that one is just barely starting. You can see very warm air compared to cold air. You can see same states, we could have 60s and 30s in North Dakota. So very interesting. Again, we'll see a lot of these contrast. I feel sorry for those people that live somewhere in this area, because you'll just be experiencing warm some days, extremely warm, and the next day bitterly cold, at least for that time of the year, and that doesn't fare well with many people's health problems. So you can see nothing too insane in terms of the frost, because okay, so we are looking at an average around 40-50 degrees here. So below average would mean 20s and 30s. But if we were to look at this magnitude of below average temperatures in the wintertime, this would be definitely below freezing, into the negative 20s and 30s, just to give you a perspective. So let's pick out a day that is very filled with contrast. You can see, look at that. That's ridiculous. 77 here, and on the other side, 50. So that's a powerful cold front. If we were to look at the MSLP precept, we would see a system. Yep, system right there trying to develop a frontal system. So hopefully this video wasn't too long. Hopefully I didn't drag this out too much. I really love making these videos for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode.